Okay, take it easy on the stairs. Let's not crash the game again. Okay, it was at this part that I crashed, so let's go kind of slow. Come on. Don't do it, game. There you go. Okay. Alright, so I got that story, so we just need one more. And luckily, it actually set me just right before we got that other story, so... Oh god, there's two of them? Oh, okay, game. Come on.
Capable warrior. Remember your training. Behind you. Behind you.
There, I did. I finished it. I ended it. Are you proud? Okay, so I think that's where we came from. So we want to go here. Yeah. Okay, and that takes care of that bridge. So... Okay, we need one more story. And we didn't go all the way up. Ignore that body. We are not talking about it. Yay, last story!
The Northmen say that each god will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surt, but he had given his sword away for love, and without it, he cannot defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, steam will shoot up, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok. For it is nigh.
I don't know if it's just the light, but it actually looks like the darkness on her arm is moving. Can you see that? It looks like it's actually like traveling up. It's so cool. And we got all the stories. I'm so happy about that. I don't think it changes anything, but I'm super happy about it. I like this game so much that when I was gonna get my first tattoo, I was trying to think of like something I wanted, because I've talked about my tattoos before, how I really like that I've designed all of them so they're unique, and then I like that they all have a personal meaning to me. They're not just because, oh, this looks cool, or oh, I just wanted to get, you know, ink. So I really like, because they all have story and they're all something personal to me. But when I was first thinking about getting a tattoo, and I'm still kind of considering it, but I really wanted to do something that looked like this, that looked like there was something crawling up, like I was going to do like from my shoulder to my neck. Because I really just want something that looked like it was crawling up, like there's something there. Because I like this game so much that that's actually where I got the idea from. But I never did, because I could never figure out how to draw it to where it looked cool, or where I even just liked it. But I always thought that'd be such a cool tattoo, to have something look like there's something actually under your skin and crawling up, and like that something's happening. I still kind of revisit the idea from time to time. I have no clue what I would, or how I would draw it. Because I like that. I like the idea of the darkness crawling up your arms, going to your head. Like,
Now, this is nearly the end.
my thought just flew right out of my head.
Stop them.
Oh! Ow! Body slam for the win!
She's injured. She can still do it.
Of course I can still do it. Have you met me? I am the best female warrior there ever was. Gonna be the very best. No one ever was. Push him off. Oh, I blocked. I was blocking. Push you off the friggin' edge. Move, 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 move.
She's hurt. She won't make it.
There we go. Thank you, mirror. And then, yeah, he does that.
The mirror. The mirror focus is built. It's building.
No focus is building. Thank you. I've only played this game for, I don't know, 5 hours? It's close to the end, and I think this game is only 6 hours long. Depending on how long it takes you to do, like, the puzzles and stuff. But we're very close to the end. I mean, we're super close.
Do it. You're close. You won.
I like how he cracked his neck, like, yeah, bring it, I'm ready. Totally gonna get your ass kicked, dude. Did you not see all the ones I've already fought? Guys much bigger and stronger and had bigger weapons than you. Oh, crud muffins. Come on, come on, come on, get up, get up, get up.
Behind you.
I was blocking. And see, this is what I like too. Going back to what I was saying about how I like how, like, you can tell someone's hurt. Like, I like that because the first few minutes when I got back up, I was swinging super slow and acting like my sword was super heavy. Like, just those little details is so good to make it feel like your actions, the wounds you are actually collecting, are actually doing stuff.
She's getting closer.
Wait. Oh no. Okay, this might be bad. This part fucked me up. My first playthrough.
What happens to
Oh,
us?
this was really bad.
We die too. Do we die too? We die too.
Yes.
We'll all die someday.
I don't want to die.
And when everyone's gone, even the gods will die.
We don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Oh
Senua,
man,
stop.
I do
Senua,
not want to
stop.
do this part. I do not want to go through this part.
Stop. Senua, stop. What happens to us?
Oh man, this was the best scene, but this screwed me so much in my first playthrough.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me. If you don't want to die with me, then leave me alone.
I don't want to die. Please stop.
Shut up, voices!
Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them.
They were afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They made up monsters to fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
No!
never let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
That's so cool. I can tell I'm in a better mindset because that really messed me up the first
Not like
time.
the old stories, is it? The noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
The man I was before Druth. Was a true coward, Senua. I was well traveled. I spoke both their tongue and ours. So they took me as a slave. I thought I could help to broker peace. Or at least stay their hands from slaughter. But under torture, I did no such thing. I led them to the treasures and slaves they sought. But I wasn't the only one. Another came to the Northmen willingly, offering a bargain, a man in black from your lands. And he was offered safe passage for his treason. In the end, Senua, it isn't the gods that cause us so much suffering, but those closest to us.
I'm here for Tilly.
Okay. I'll have to see if that was different in my first playthrough than this one. I don't remember. Because I didn't have all the story, so I don't know if that changed anything.
Do you see it, Senua? Do you see the darkness? Faces of fear and suffering.
I can see it.
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside.
Only rot is him.
Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, Senua?
You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie.
Oh my god.
You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are the darkness.
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
You're a liar.
The darkness is
Whoa.
inside you and it will destroy you.
You're a liar!
No, Senua. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw your last dying gasp.
Won't let you kill me.
Dude, this has such a good ending. Holy crap. And it's kind of cool to see how I'm in such a better mind set that the game's not really affecting me like it did the first time. I mean, nowhere near it. But it's still really cool, and to see it in VR. Holy crap. And it's really, I don't think I got it the first time or understood that, so it's apparently her dad that went and got the guys that raided her village. And so it was his fault that the mother died, and then I'm assuming, well, his fault because Dillian died as well because the raiders came. And it's like that, I don't think I also got it. Yeah, it makes more sense watching it or playing it the second time. Oh my god. Dude, do you hear this music? This is gonna get copyrighted. I know that, but I'm not worrying about it. God.
Watch out.
I know voices. Thank you for the watch out. Fudge, man. And it's kind of cool because like this could take on so many meanings. Like if this really is the underworld, then we're still fighting for like Dillian. But if this is like all in our minds, then you could like kind of interpret it, this is all as demons. That's why they have all like different helmets, and you don't really see them as like a human. I mean, they have a human body, but their heads aren't. So this is kind of like finally fighting all of her demons and the darkness that she believed was inside of her.
I can see through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela, then I have a sword here that can kill a god.
Look at you. Running forward, backwards to wallow in your miserable past. You're making a mistake searching for Dillian. The same mistake that killed him in the first place. I'm trying to save you from yourself. You still believe it is a lie. The plague of darkness, the butchering of Dillian by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
You told tell everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Man, we are so messed up.
Where is Dillian's soul if the darkness is alive? Are we safe?
He's here. I know he's here. Dillian, I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
I've always kind of thought that, well, I've never really understood, like, going back to Jacksepticeye, I know I've talked about him a lot, but, like, I've never understood why people get, like, game tattoos, because I'm like, it could change, and then you might, like, your taste might change later, when what you once thought was a good game, you could kind of be like, it's, you know, it's okay now. It's like, I never got, because, like, Jacksepticeye got, like, Bloodborne, and I've never gotten what was the point of getting a tattoo like that, but I could totally see getting a Hellblade tattoo. Oh, and there's Soot! Going through all of our big bosses, because like I said, it was even one of the first tattoos I even thought about getting. Even now, I don't know what I would do to try to, like, capture this game and what it means to me in, like, one piece of image. Crap. Ooh, hello, beast. Get him! God, this is so cool. And there's the illusion. God, and the music is so amazing for this. Oh man, I really want the Hellblade tattoo now. Oh crap. God, I love how messed up we get in this game. Oh, crap. No, come on, come on, come on. God. Oh my god, I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh, come on. I was hitting the block button. Oh, I got an itch. Focus isn't filling up, and that's what I need. Come on, come on.
Dillian! Where is he? You're trying to trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Dillian is gone.
I like how because Hella's supposed to be the representative.
Or what? What can he do to me that you haven't already?
Betrayed your own father.
Fight me.
You betrayed
Come
the
on.
gods in search of Dillian, in search of love. Look where that's got you.
Watch out.
Let go of your battle. Let go of redemption. Let go of Dillian.
No fucking way in hell,
Don't let
dude.
your darkness hurt anyone else.
That's the whoa, what the heck just happened? But that's the thing, like, okay, well first I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. If Hella is like the darkness, it's getting, I like how she's shrinking every time we win a battle. Cause it really is, like, these are demons that we're now fighting. It really kind of represents that. She's so cool looking. But see,
You're going to die.
see, like, if you don't take it literally, like the death part, because like if you let go, you let your darkness go. Like to me, I've always thought, because that normally means death. You let your darkness go, stop fighting. That normally means that you're about to die. But like, death doesn't solve anything. If anything, it hurts those around you. If you stop fighting and if you give into your darkness, to me, that always was like you're hurting your family then and your friends around you. Ooh. Oh, you guys think you're so bad. God, this game is amazing. I cannot wait for the second one. I know it's probably gonna be like a couple years before it comes out. This is literally the only game that would ever make me consider buying an Xbox just to play it.
Let go of Dillion. Let
Fuck
go of
you,
your
boys.
battle. Stop.
Like that, I went to kick and she kind of just tried to go with her elbow. I like how like tired you can tell she's getting. Cause it only lasts for a couple of seconds, and then she's back to being like normal. But it's still cool to see, and that's what I mean. Like when games can do stuff to be like, oh yeah, you're hurt, you're getting tired, without like interfering with the gameplay.
Go of your battle. You don't have to fight anymore.
Yes, you do. I need to get out from being behind all these guys. Ooh, hello, voice. Hello. Aw, man, I got stuck. Man. I wonder if there's a way to beat them all, or if they would have just kept on coming. Oh, she has her sword.
You're alive. And there's no darkness. Then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dillion. Is that what you want me to believe? After After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know he's here. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release it.
Whoa.
If you won't,
Oh, jeez.
you will have to kill me. Because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate.
Oh, she's so cool looking.
No quest. You will have no power over me.
Oh. Okay, that's making me a little bit queasy to my stomach. Ugh.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from that darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day, a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves, and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
This is where my story once began. And so it has to end here. Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness.
Oh damn, Hellblade is so good.
I know it's hard to tell how mixed up you.
God, I want it to be over. Holy God, that's such a good game. And the ending and the music is so good. And I love that. I love that when she had the head, it was the fire and her being all white and having the ruins to make you think like the darkness won. Or the Hella, whatever you want to think that was. Like her inner demon, whatever you want to call it. And then as soon as the head's gone, as soon as she steps, the Dillion is gone. She's back to herself. Oh, I can't wait to see what the second Hellblade is going to be. It's going to be amazing. Like, I am so excited for that. And I really hope, I really hope they do it in VR too. Because, oh my God, being in VR and seeing it just adds more to the story. It just adds so much more tension and depth and emotion to it. Like, if you don't have a VR, this is still an excellent game to play. But if you have a VR, I would recommend this. I would highly recommend this. This is... It's such a good game, and they do it so well. And normally, I like doing the credits, but... Oh, I can't skip it. Epic game! Hey.
Stormy seas and lost souls.
Who is it?
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming.
Is it?
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts, and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through her eyes.
Yes, she's scared.
Because if you believe that Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting
The original idea for Hellblade was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In Hellblade, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senua in Ashwell, Hertfordshire.
Oh.
When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
I did not know that's where she came from. Oh, that's interesting.
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings.
I didn't know it's actually based on
legendary.
history.
High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle. I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to find her partner, Dillion, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror of this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment.
I did not know this. I did not know this was actually based off of history.
No!
came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was Gelt. A Gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad by a curse, battle trauma, or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation. And so Senua became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in reference to mental disorders was Druth, meaning fool, or
Liar.
one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Druth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you
Really?
stories of hell. If
That is so cool.
with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness such as psychosis is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favor of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
No kidding.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming. Pleasure. Thanks. It's really interesting for me, and I'd love to be involved. It's fascinating.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of?
Well, you
Professor
did it
Charles
amazingly.
Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from
Yeah,
inside
I didn't
your
like the
head.
ones that were actually in my
Based on the
ear.
information Professor Fernyhough provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you.
Yeah, it does.
Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also crucially listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know.
Everything's in bits, like the photography that's torn and put together again. If you move, it's frightening.
Deep in me, insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper.
Colors seem to be brighter now, almost as if they were illuminating.
I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
Sometimes the world appears like a kaleidoscope and it can be beautiful. When I move quickly, it's a strain on me. Things get too quick for my mind. They get blurred. Had that happen a lot. I often see waviness and melting of the walls. It makes me feel nauseated. Got the nausea part down. At times there's nothing to hold on to. Oh, and the mind goes blank and everything gets switched off. I hated that part. That is the worst part.
To refine our work, we continued to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Worthless, weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there's no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making Hellblade. Had we gone too far with our representations
No,
or not far
not at
enough?
all. You did not go too far. At
Broken
all.
and lost. Just like your soul.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
Isn't that the point?
It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
That I agree with.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us.
I did not know she was the video editor as well.
My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and a superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exasperated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillian sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question, is what Senua experiences real? Can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. It was a chance to see if the game had reflected their views or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear, and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
Oh man, the fan, or I don't know if those fan works, but that art is really nice.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory kind of asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
I think all the way through I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
I really hope that others will follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals were able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us.
Hell
We
yeah.
need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
Oh man, I've never watched that before. That was good. That's interesting. They kind of took some stuff based off of history and they kind of just built it. But man, I like that. Yeah, all those different minds and the way they work. It gives us all the different worlds that we have now. The books, the movies, TV shows, video games, art, poetry, all the things. That's why we have so much different stuff. So it's really cool to see that. And like I said, it's really cool to see the care and the details that went into this game. So, that was Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. I cannot wait for the second one. I'm super excited for it. Oh, okay. I had to take off the headset. I like those lines. I like how it goes. look at that. Look at that. I have a whole line of where my headset's at. But I just want to talk a little bit more about Hellblade, because it's something I really, 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 really like. I really like all the attention and the details that went into it. And, like, with my illness, it's not the same. It's not a mental illness. It's nothing to do with that. But, like, the illness I have, the autoimmune disease, the arthritis, and all that, like, it's really hard to see. So when you see this 24-year-old taking 5 different medicines and needing like a special weighted blanket to sleep at night, and can't have the fans on me in the cold, and all these special things I need, my gloves, I have these gloves that sit here, these compression gloves, which I normally wear a lot because the pressure helps my arms and it helps my hands, and especially my fingers, if I play for a long time or do anything on my keyboard. And so a lot of times that can lead to being in isolation, because it's like sometimes you don't feel like going out. Sometimes my legs hurt, my knees will hurt, and I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. I just want to rest, because you feel so damn tired, even though you didn't do anything all day, but you just mentally and physically you feel tired. So that can lead to isolation, because then your friends aren't going to ask you anymore if you want to go hang out with them. They're not going to have the patience to deal with you and what you're going through. So the tension that went into this game, it could be applied to other things. And like, that's what I hope they do. Like, Hellblades, the second one, I'm sure they can do an amazing job. I don't know if they'll do the same mental illness, if they'll do a different one, but they'll do a good job representing it. But like, you could choose other ones. Like, I've always thought that if I had the skill, if I learned how to do it, I would make one that somehow showed the arthritis or showed the migraines that I get for no reason out of nowhere that get super bad. That, I get laid up in bed and I feel like I'm gonna puke, my legs hurt, the body hurts. And I always thought, because there's no way to physically show that. You can't see it. You can't see, my muscles or anything down the outside. You just look at me and you're like, oh, you're a 24-year-old woman that gets headaches. Like, you can't show that, and then people think, oh, what the hell's wrong with you? Or, sometimes you'll see people on the shopping carts, the powered ones, and you're like, you don't need that. Or a lot of times people will step out, like my mom, she's disabled. So when she steps out, you don't know that, you don't see that, because there's nothing physically to see. So I've always thought that was fascinating, and I don't know if other games have done it, but I hope they take what Ninja Theory has done with this mental illness, and I hope they apply it to other things. I hope they apply it. Make a game about deafness, blindness, make a game about having your body attack itself, because that's essentially what my body does. It attacks itself. The good cells are supposed to fight off the bad ones. It attacks everything. It attacks the muscles in my joints, and it replaces it with bone. That's why my fingers get super stiff. It just eats away at everything, and it's literally, my body is attacking itself from the inside out. And so I just hope they run with this, and I hope once Hellblade 2 comes out, I hope Ninja Theory keeps on going with this kind of tread, and I hope it keeps on going and we get more games about it, because games are the best way, because you play them, you get sucked into them. It's not just a movie that you're sitting there, you're literally moving the character and you're fighting and you're doing all these things. And it's like, VR didn't take away from that experience at all. And if anything, VR added to the experience of Hellblade. It made it, having Senua be right there in front of my face and looking into my eyes, you could literally see the emotions that were in her eyes and on her face. It just added to it, and it made it so much more deeper than what the flat version or just what the regular version was. So I just wanted to point that out.